Welcome home, brave Vikings. I'm Ash, this is HEL, and this is Gates of Niflheim by Raybox, a game for 1 to 2 players, in which a session could take 20 to 40 minutes and for ages 14 and up. This is a lot to go over, so we're just getting right into this one. You stand, bloody blade in hand, on an Irish beach, teeming with the undead. Hungry seas swallow the wreck of your longship. Atop steep cliffs, columns of smoke arise into a sunless sky. A monastery burns. To either side, shambling forms close in on your small band of survivors. The Draugr walk and they thirst for your souls. Gates of Niflheim is a solo and co-op campaign game of skirmish warfare set in Norse and Christian lore of 1000 AD. Play seasoned warriors striving to close the gates that border our world and the next. They must work together to find the best path, each scenario giving them options on which way to go next. The player's choices determine the fate of their heroes. The game plays out over a series of linked scenarios that form a campaign, and each previous scenario in the campaign will affect the start of the next, creating an ongoing story. That's probably a claim you've heard in some form or another for a lot of other games, but this one is particular about that. It boasts 1 minute setup, it has a compact play area. This is an award-winning Paths Unknown system that it uses. You could tell because it's got the Paths Unknown emblem. A choose-your-own-adventure style campaign, and a hero skill tree with experience and skills enhancement. And all of these reasons are reasons why I backed the game during its very successful Kickstarter campaign. The cover features this beautiful imagery of this Viking-ess, that's not a word, just slicing through all of these undead scrubs with her compatriots. Actually, I didn't notice before, we have the other heroes on here as well, it seems. I would say at least this guy and this guy. So let's journey through the Gates of Niflheim. This is a small box, but it is heavy, loaded with all kinds of high-quality content. High-quality materials and content. Flat desiccant. I really appreciate the small box format of this one. Our hero boards are here. They are not proprietary to each character, so you can use whichever one you want. They're all the same. And this does things in a really interesting way, which we'll get to. We've got our pegs. The pegs are going to go into the holes on the character boards. We've got our party control sheet. This is thick paper. It is double-sided. It has the same content on both sides, so you can use this twice. But just like everybody else who will ever play this game, I'm just going to photocopy this sheet and use the copy. This allows you to record the scenario last played, the loot, the total glory, character number 1 through 4's XP and notes. I'm sure the notes will come in handy when we get to the choose-your-own-adventure sections of the book. Your heroes are called Huskarls, and you can track their weapons and gear, 1 and 2, their experience, 20 plus 1 proficiency, 50 plus 1 MP, notes, supplies, and health for all 4 of them, as well as notes for the entire party. I'm sure that section also gets utilized. Better choose-your-own-adventure books do utilize these sort of keyword systems. There were different tiers of this, obviously, since it was a Kickstarter crowdfund. Most people do take advantage of the different tier system, but I think that it bears noting that the different tiers had quite different versions of this game. This was the boxed version. There was a version that just had the book because you can basically play just with the book, and you'll see why here in a minute. We've got Ziploc bags, we've got standees for the characters, we've got 3 D12, and after we take this out of the box, all we're left with is a single coin. Actually a pretty cool coin, and yes, it is metal. Not sure what we're looking at here. I'm sure it is something symbolic though. It might have heavy Nordic ties. I believe this is one of the tiers. I think the lowest tier, just this sort of book set, this book experience. But I could be wrong. If I can remember, I'll try to leave a link to the original campaign below, and that would be useful, especially if there's a way to get a hold of this now. I apologize for being useless. I also am not sure about the availability in retail about this. A lot of these Kickstarter projects are out there to the backers. They usually do offer some sort of retail option. So if you're a retailer, you can pick up like 5 at a discounted price or 10 at a discounted price. If your local game store did that, then they'll have those copies. And if they didn't, then they won't. And you will only be able to get this secondhand. It is worth noting that there are miniatures for this game. I got the standee version because I didn't want to go all in to get the miniatures, but the miniatures are really cool and they are sold separately on rayboxgames.com. This also isn't the only Raybox Games game. Oh, some of these look so cool. Actually, all of these look really, really cool. Man, the knight armor. Yeah, it is entirely possible that this is available retail through Raybox, but you'll have to check that and verify. We have our, I think, status dice. We have numbers 2, 4, an axe, a lock, a little star, a little asterisk, and this, which isn't the easiest thing to see, but it is it looks like a diamond inside of a diamond instead of a yellow square. There are 4 of these. I'm presuming 1 for each character, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go in the status die section on your character board. By the way, the character board also has your ready weapon, your offhand weapon, which gives you a -2 in DRM. We're not sure what that means just yet. We have 4 health. We have 9 spots for supplies. It looks like we can have 3 arrows, 3 healing items, and 3 bombs. A track for glory, which starts at 1. A track for corruption, which has its own set of debuffs, anti-boons, banes. Once you get this much corruption, it's -1 MP. This much corruption is -1 DRM, -2 DRM, and then -2 MP. Something called the Fate track, your experience, and then you have additional experience trackers down here, level 1, 2, and 3, XP 15, 25, and 60. Contents of your belt, and A, B, and C gear. Finally, this is where our character, I believe, is going to go once we get them punched out. Alright, so this is now Gates of Niflheim, and we have our weapons chart. This game goes as far as to give you a weapons type, not just the name of a weapon. Like the longsword belongs to the sword classification. The punch dagger is a mace. The Seax? That's a dagger. The two-handed Skegox, why, that's an axe. And the Zweihander, why, that's a Zweihander. Oh, that's okay. There are also ranged weapons, shields, and relics. And the relics are our special artifacty type weapons. Alright, let's open up this sucker. First thing we're presented with, 2 more Ziploc baggies. I'm sure they'll be necessary. A lot of tiles. Open up our tiles and see what we got. We got Draugr, and a lot of them. And if these images look a bit uncanny, it's because these are photographs of the miniature concepts, or they could be just well-painted miniature photographs. But I think they're still the 3D concepts due to the lighting. That was a choice, but I mean, the assets were already there since they were working on providing the miniatures as a separate release. We've got the Mardron, the Valkyrie. Valkyries are awesome. I love them. Troll. And then it looks like we have various heroes. Ulfar, Frida, Killian, Bjorn, and Aud. Bjorn. This is the Shadow Jarl, and this is the Bishop. These guys are double-sided. We actually have many characters. We have 10. Bjorn, Killian, Frida, Aud, Aletor, Brunhilder, Skathak. That's that awesome knight. Ulfar, Dalbach, and Sangrider. Man, everybody looks so badass. That's the direction that you want to go. If you're going to do anything Nordic, anything Viking, you need badassery. Uncompromising, fits perfectly where it's supposed to go. Got a little wiggle room even. The art has continuity with the hero board itself. It's easy to take out because of the little divot in the side. Here's the gear that we'll be stuffing into our A, B, and C slots. The Greek Fire File, which has an area of effect. The two-handed Skegox, which has a range of 1. Pretty sure I'm correct in assuming that those are ranges. The Punch Dagger, 2. The Longbow, 1. Oh, target. Number of targets, I imagine that's what that is. We have our relic weapons here in yellow. Here are the other heroes, the other Huskar. We have classes. Looks like we have 10. And we have these micro boards with these. Oh, they are actually character specific. Yeah, okay, I see the artwork now. So if we were to take the board for Sangrider, actually, let's be consistent. We'll take Skathak. He's got these 9 cutouts on his board. These are going to fit right here, line up with the existing peg holes, and then the pegs will be going into the 2 layers. And I imagine this is where our skill tree comes into effect. This is a really cool way to do that, in my opinion. It's very straightforward. All the information you need is right here. It's super, super easy to save, and no writing down anything, even though writing down stuff is already kind of implied to be important due to the notes on the party control sheet. But maybe they're just there for flavor. We've got weapon craft, we've got dark fortitude, we've got influence, and we've got these 9 skills that are listed here. When do we get a skill? When we level up? I don't know. We'll have to find out. All right, so that was our sheets of tiles. Interestingly enough, the other side of the gear tiles, they are all the same, so maybe it's possible that these get shuffled and drawn whenever you are about to earn loot. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. We have another couple of sheets of tiles. These are more gameplay related, not just hero building. These are very likely going to go onto the map. And it looks like we do have a host of doors, which when I punch the door out, it comes out in 2 parts, and it's clear to me that these are going to get pushed together and then the door will be able to stand freely on the map as such. We won't have to use the additional bag of standees that came with this just for that. They could have done the heroes the same way, but that might have been kind of ugly. We've also got additional tiles for a baby, and then old man head, and a fire. Hearts, lock, these blue things that point to locations on the maps that I know they have a name. I know, but I don't know what it is. The diamonds, the 2, all status stuff that you would get on the dice that I showed you earlier. And for some reason, numbers, just tiles with numbers on them. They're numbered from 1 through 60. On the other side of the old man and babies, we have question marks and we have whirlpools without the numbers on the opposite side. We've also got those asterisks opposite the diamonds. And our map markers have now turned red. We've got these nice little KO markers, I believe they would be, because they look like the sort of cartoon stars that would go around a character when they get whacked with a giant hammer. We've got treasure chests, we've got debris, we've got wards, and we've got tiles for all of the heroes, as well as Gunnars, shield maidens, archers, and the monsters like the trolls and the Draugr. Doubtless, these are the tiles that we would be using instead of the standees if we had gotten a lower tier of the game. We've also got this wonderful eye and 4 tentacles. I can sense a boss battle. We've got 4 different kinds of runes on 4 different colors, which becomes all one color, or white, utilizing the same runic symbols. That's all the tiles, and now we have exposed the reference guide. This is the RSW value used when not adjacent to a foe, so ranged. The H2HSW value is used when adjacent to a foe. Oh, okay. So these are things you probably have to roll, and it looks like you have to roll low in order to achieve a success. I could be wrong about that. It could just be very, very difficult to use a sling when you're adjacent to a foe. This might not have anything to do with the rolls at all, actually. An X signifies this weapon has no ranged combat capability. This weapon cannot be used for a ranged attack because it is a hand-to-hand weapon. Hand-to-hand? Is that what that means? No, that wouldn't make any sense. We're going to stop guessing now. But I'm also going to stop reading things that have abbreviations, and we're going to get into the books themselves. This thing is just cool. It is really, really cool. It's not built like a Trapper Keeper, but it is basically your Viking Trapper Keeper. This kind of makes me want to go buy a Trapper Keeper and consume all of these elements and put it into the Trapper Keeper that I will then customize to look very Nordic. Anybody know what I'm talking about when I say Trapper Keeper? We've got different undead stats here. We've got the weapons, the relics, attack modifiers, movement actions, everything on our handy reference guide. And now we're into the books. We have a total of 3 documents that come with this game. The Dux Disciplinum, which is the how to play guide. This is what you are supposed to read first. You will read this section on page 1, and then you will open the scenario book to page 2, which is called the High Seat. You can safely pretty much ignore everything else. And this is page 2, the High Seat. And yes, in your ring-bound scenario book, you have your scenarios. Gasp. What a surprise. This is really one of the biggest draws to this game, was that I could play this dungeon crawler right in a book and also have this supplementary scenario book that has this choose your own adventure section. Being able to play through a skirmish game, part dungeon crawler, Nordic themed setting where you have all of these tabletop rules, and this is basically all the room that you're going to need to play this game. Maybe just here and then this. And then like your supplies and stuff you can keep in a box nearby. That to me was very enticing, plus the fact that it's a single player, solo/co-op. The High Seat has its own flavor text, the forces of the party and the undead, the special rules for the Jarl, and something called escape their clutches. When a Draugr activates adjacent to your character, you lose the scenario. Our setup rules, which setup is claimed to be less than a minute. So where did I read that? It was on the box. About a minute. Setup, place your chosen character on the square marked V. V, there it is. That's where we would place our chosen character. We are evidently enjoying a meal, having a drink. Place the objective markers on squares marked 1 and 2. Where's the 1 and 2? There's O1, there's O2. Those are our objectives. Place a villager marker, the Jarl, on the square marked J. Place a door on the blue doorway, and draw and place undead markers on the squares marked D. There's J for Jarl, sitting in the throne. Draugr here on these 4 squares. Blue door here. The objectives are to rescue the Jarl at the square marked J, pick up the lit torch from the square marked O1, exit via the green arrow, and do not attack any of the undead. These were once your brothers in arms. Doubtless this is going to begin the grand story that unfolds, in which we are going to journey to close this gate through which the undead are pouring, or perhaps just their souls. The gates of Niflheim. I would complain about the baked-in elements, but this is supposed to be for a game. It's not a game supplement for a bunch of other stuff. This is specifically for Gates of Niflheim, so in this case, it's fine. The S, by the way, is where more monsters are going to spawn. I don't have an explanation yet for this track at the bottom, do we? Secondary objective, reach the square marked O2. If you do, roll on the search chart and record the item found in the notes section of the PCS, the party control sheet. There it is. There's the party control sheet writing mechanics. Perform a special action to rescue the Jarl while adjacent to the square marked J. Place his marker on your character sheet in one of the gear slots. He now travels with you until you exit the map. I think the gear slots are genius. I actually think the offhand and having a -2 DRM, whatever that means, just officializing that there is a penalty if you have a second weapon and you choose to use it in the moment without any sort of equipment action or whatever. I think that's really smart. And then I would assume that the gear here might include things that you can switch to your other hands. Maybe, and I'm not sure when that would be, but I'm just assuming that it could be a thing. But I like that. I like that it's already thought out. The search chart is specific to this quest. I really like that too. We have some things to remember here, and the interim stage, no actions can be taken yet. After you exit, we have some flavor text, and then the instruction to read entry number 7 and then play scenario 2 in the mist. This is a clean presentation. This is a really, really nice way to present this. So we move on from the Dux Disciplinum and we go to the Tome of... Wait, is it the Tome of Knowledge that has the entries? Yeah, so the Tome of Knowledge, by the way, is the rules glossary, and then the armory, and then the Tome of the Dead, which I think is the bestiary. Now, I would say that the art is beautiful throughout, but we don't have very much art. We just have this convention by which these 3D concepts, these renders, or these photographs of miniatures are placed through the book, and the closer I get a look, the more I'm like, yeah, that's a 3D concept. That's the 3D model with the ideal colors applied to it. We have our line of sight diagram. We have our stun values at different distances. I like that. RM is range modifier. PBR is point blank range. The attack action doesn't seem too bad. Pretty much tries to give you all of the different scenarios on one page. We have attack examples here. Aplenty, and I really appreciate that. A half a page of examples. An explanation on adjacency, being orthogonal adjacency for this game. Adjusting the fate track, which I didn't catch this earlier, but the fate track actually is glory and corruption above. I thought that might be a separate track that was just held off of the character board. That's why I didn't make that link earlier. Our abbreviations here, H2H does mean hand-to-hand, and SW means stun wound values. So if you don't wound your enemy, you will at least stun them. I like that notion a lot, actually. Okay, so we have quite a few rules to go through, and then we will make it all the way to the actual scenario choices, the entries. Here's our armory explaining a bit more about the weapons, 3D concepts, the Tome of the Dead. It does indeed list the undead types, which I didn't know the Marjoram was undead. Undead and gear powers, undead and gear powers continued, and now the entry numbers. And here are the entry numbers. They are numbered from 1, 2, and I'm hoping they take up the entire rest of this book. Yeah? No, they don't. Dang it. The section is actually quite small. 60. There are 60 such sections. Nope, I'm sorry. I cut us off too far in. There are 68 sections, and then we get to the Lost Memory Notes. Doubtless these take the place of event cards because we have our 60 entries here and we have the different flavor texts, and then flipping the Coin of Fate instructions where applicable. Otherwise, you are given choices to heal 1 health or gain 4 glory. Gain 1 glory, gain 2 XP. Lose 1 glory, then gain 2 XP, and so on. After that section, we have Scenario Supplement 6, 9, 11, 16. I don't know if I love that there is a separate supplement for the scenarios. I'm thinking it would have been great if the scenario building convention would be to strictly enforce it being limited to the 2 pages on which the scenario is generally held, but there could be very good reasons for breaking that convention, and perhaps it's not even a convention that is being broken. Perhaps it is just supplemental knowledge. Paths unknown, move your adventure. Speaking of scenarios, the Dux Disciplinum has scenarios in it. Components, introduction, scenario number 1, the high seat, 2, in the mist, 3, salvage. Now, we did just look at the high seat, interestingly enough. So kind of wondering, is there... here it is. It's teaching you how to use the scenario book. And I like that. Special actions that you can do, those things that lend themselves to roleplay in other games but aren't part of the rules as written, are defined per scenario. And in order to perform that special action, you will remain stationary, you will not move, and you will not do any of the normal actions, so no attacking. Then you will do that special action. I liked this section here, revealing undead. Do not look at the undead markers when you are placing them during setup or when spawning. You won't know the identity of the undead until your hero has line of sight to it and it is revealed. My thing is, how are we supposed to know any of this when this says to open... Oh, this literally does say before you get to the red instruction text. It actually says this manual is intended to help you learn to play the game by guiding you through the first 5 scenarios. Play the game as you read through the text. The first 5 scenarios are meant to be played until thoroughly understood. If you failed the objective or are unsatisfied with the results, feel free to play them again. When you proceed beyond these first few, you will start to have choices as to which scenario you would like to play next. These decisions define the path you choose and can, over the course of the campaign, lead to several possible conclusions to the narrative story. We'll wrap this up by looking at several more of the scenarios in the scenario book because to me this is the meat, corn, potatoes, and turkey of this whole thing. In the Mist looks like this. And yeah, these are 8 by 10 tile maps. And we have our first narrative choice at the bottom when we complete this second scenario. Which way do you go? To head west along the shoreline to the other shipwreck, play Scenario 3 Salvage. To investigate the distress cries, move further inland to the east, play Scenario 4 Break In. I love the idea that a game can be designed well enough to have provided you with multiple playthroughs that are different each time you go through. However, when we get done with the salvage, then you can play Scenario 4 Break In if you have not played it already. Otherwise, you will seek shelter at the tower, playing Scenario 5 Shield Brother. This is upon completion of Scenario 3 Salvage. So it does look like, although you might be able to branch off a main path, you can get right back to it, meaning that you can definitely, maybe definitively play through all of the scenarios in one. It does look like at the end of Break-In, you can play Scenario 3 Salvage if you have not played it already, then seek shelter at the tower and play Scenario 5 Shield Brother. This is a fun map. They truly are skirmish maps too. They're very short, very small, to the point. You've got your special rules. I really like the quest book layout. I'm a sucker for quest book layouts that are just like this, where you have one page to give to the map, one page to give to any special rules. This format, it's just my favorite thing. I don't know why. Nobody could probably explain why that is. Shield Brother, and then we read entry number 12, which I'm highly interested in knowing if entry 12 gives you a choice now to what scenario to play next. The Shield Brother exit. Select 2 new characters and add them to your PCS. They start with their preferred weapons, 0 glory and 10 XP. Then play scenario 6, the Stained Glass Gallery. Turn to page 48 in this book to find its rules. Are you telling me, is it because the Stained Glass Gallery is a double-page quest? That's why we've got supplements, so that we can supplement these double-paged in-map quests. And we don't have the room, obviously, for the rules to be on the same page. I'm okay with that. I think that that's a fine exception to have, to break the standard convention of map on one side, explanations and rules on the other. And it does tell you where you can find the scenario for this map in the Tome of Knowledge, what pages. It's very handy. This is posh design. This was elegantly made. I have to say, we have our Cliffs of Despair here. It's obligatory. You have to have a map that has this just huge pit encroaching upon the entirety of the visual. The Field of Skulls, for a Field of Skulls, we are not looking at nearly enough skulls here. If I had one complaint, it would be right here. This is the first complaint that I have. It might be the only complaint that I have. You called this the Field of Skulls. We have almost no skulls. We have basically the skulls you would have if you picked up as many as you could carry in 2 arms and you flung them about. This needs to have about 500% more skulls than what it has. The ground should be littered with them. The skulls should be embedded into the dirt. All right, I think that was a solid 30-second bit. We have the River of Blood. That's insane. That's so cool. We're only at scenario 9, so we'll look at scenario 10, and then we'll seek out another 2-page scenario to feast our eyes upon before we call it quits. This is the Howling Stone. You walk into the circle of men here. I don't want to read that because I don't want to spoil anything. Very interesting map. I definitely plan on playing this and giving you a solid report as to how it plays and whether or not it lives up to my expectations. I waited a particularly long time for this, and I have to say, Raybox Games probably went through quite a bit of crap to get this into the arms of all of its backers, because the comment section for this particular Kickstarter is just littered with people who got all kinds of fulfillment problems. Now, I know that's not going to be the development company or publisher or whoever's problem. It's going to be more the distributors. I would say it's a safe bet they don't go that route again for a future game, because there were people who ordered this game in German and got their copy in English, and there were people who just didn't get their game, like me, even though I got a tracking number probably about a month and a half ago, and I'm like, okay, DHL doesn't take that long, does it? Maybe it does, actually. I don't have anything mean to say about DHL, but I just don't see them enough to have an opinion at all. I've got opinions about everybody else. The USPS driver will shove anything into our post office box. It doesn't matter if it's a box 3 times the size, they're still gonna try. The USPS guy is like a hero. He's like a local superhero, a true badass. Wind, rain, snow, get out of here with that. Pretty sure this guy would deliver packages in hurricanes. He does not care. His truck is an extension of his body. he commands it, take him where he need go. And then your packages arrive at your doorstep, and that is all there is to it. The FedEx drivers, they're kind of far away, so whenever they come by, they're like, I hate this state, this region, life, my job. Here's your package. Don't talk to me or my son ever again. But I don't have a profile for the DHL drivers. Who are they? Are they eldritch horrors? Would I confront them were I to go through the gates of Niflheim? I didn't write that bit, which you could tell because it was a crappy bit, like all of the bits I do. But it was kind of nice how I got it to segue into the end of the video. Fishing for compliments here. I think this is going to be a fun experience. I think this is going to be really, really cool to play. It looks like it is scaled out really well, very natural feeling. I've got nothing bad to say about this, but yeah, I did have to reach out. That's how my story started. I had to reach out to Raybox and I had to say, hey, support team, I got a tracking number for this and I never got anything. And I was worried that I wasn't going to get anything, but they were on it. They did a reply all to me and to the email that bore the tracking number that I received that was pulling up invalid a month later, just no tracking whatsoever. And this game got to me less than a week later. So even though I think this company had some setbacks, apparently, from an outside point of view, I would order from them again. I would go through them again for another project. And I think this took a long time to come into existence, but it looks like the wait is going to have been worth it. I'm excited to let you know if that is the case for sure. I have high hopes though. I have high faith. That's all the time I have for today, so thank you very much, Brave Vikings, for sticking with me all through to the end of this video. If you made it to the end, please prove your Viking worthiness by typing out "Skald" in the comments below, and I will see you in the next exciting adventure. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye for now.